Brenden Slaughter, publisher of BeaversEdge.com, joined by Beavers Edge writer and KGO radio host TJ Mathewson. We're here at Oregon State Fall Camp. The Beavers just wrapped up another day and wrapped up the third week of Fall Camp. A lot to break down, a lot to dive into. Make sure to head on over to BeaversEdge.com for the complete report. But TJ, what were your kind of general observations from today's practice, other than the fact that it's a lot cooler out here today?
Is it a lot cooler? I mentioned it to you. I think it's hotter than it was yesterday.
Okay, fair enough.
It ended up being 100 degrees yesterday. You guys want to try go sitting on those bleachers over there for an hour. But regardless, I mean, the offense, we saw them work in short field, so it's kind of hard to say they warmed up a little bit, but we did see them consistently get into the end zone and in a variety of ways. Quarterback scrambles. Aiden Childs ran in for a touchdown. So did Ben. I don't think DJ ran for a touchdown today, but regardless, some mobility of quarterbacks, the defensive line continued to look good, and they're getting some tight window throws off into the end zone as well, which is important. And I think they're also like starting to open up the playbook a little bit and getting a little bit more comfortable as we go along.
Definitely, and as TJ just mentioned, there was definitely a nice mix of how they did things today. You know, typically there's kind of a method to the madness, so to speak, as far as what part of practice they'll do, you know, drills versus live versus back to drills. And it was interesting because we saw a lot of, red zone work today. We saw some goal line work today, saw 11 on 11, saw a lot of 7 on 7, even saw some kickoff work today. So, and not to mention, as TJ put in his report yesterday on the damn board, rotations, again, you can tell Oregon State is getting really close to kind of putting the final pieces together with the depth chart, because they're throwing guys in many different combinations. And again, like I said, we'll have the rotations at BeaversEdge.com. But it seems to me, TJ, like they're really playing almost matchmaker. Like, how does this guy fit with this guy, and this guy fit with this guy? And it seems like it's really ramped up this week compared to the first couple weeks where it's pretty steady.
Yeah. It's pretty on brand to what Jonathan said on Tuesday. It's like, we pretty much just want to see, does this guy look like he's playing with the starters? And I would say for some of these guys, to find out who, go check out the damn board, because we'll tell you. But it is interesting to see some takeaways of how this all happens, like a third-team offensive line with DJ at quarterback and then the second-team wide receivers out there. It's truly an interesting mix, but for the most part today, they were making it work. Yeah,
and again, I got to shout out to the couple position groups that stood out to me today is, again, the defensive line. I feel like we've talked about them quite a bit this fall camp. We talked to Coach Leahy today and Joe Golden as well on that defensive line, and we really think that that's going to be a strength for Oregon State football this year, TJ. I mean, for a team that was really veteran heavy at linebacker and then secondary last year, it really seems like that defensive line, I mean, Leahy named, 6-7. I mean, they could be 8 deep, maybe.
Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, is there one guy who's like noticeably better than last year? And then he rattled off 5-6 guys.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, okay. So, and I would say the results show, because I feel like it's getting repetitive of how much you're writing about. Yeah, the defensive line really looked good and really consistently got pressure on the quarterback today in practice, but that's been the case, right?
Right.
That's been it, and it hasn't been one guy. It's been 5, 6, 7 different guys, plus the outside linebackers who have been pretty good rushing around the edge and getting the edge on the quarterback. It's been a tough time for quarterbacks, and I would say take note of that when we're judging how quarterback play is. Like, most often, unless it's 7 on 7, these guys are under pressure most of the time.
Right, and again, one might think, right, that means maybe Oregon State's offensive line is struggling. I don't really see it that way. I look at it as this is easily, and I hold no bars in saying this is the best defensive line group Leahy's had in his entire time here. So 18 to now, right? So I do think by far and away his best defensive line group. And conversely, TJ, I would argue this is one of the better offensive lines Oregon State's had. They got 4 guys who are on Pac-12 preseason lists.
And we talked to Jim Mahalchik yesterday, and he was not hesitant to say, it's like, so you narrowing down the depth chart? And he's like, well, I don't have a depth chart.
Classic Coach M.
Doesn't have a depth chart. He's like, I'm comfortable with both these units going out there and performing. He's like, obviously the younger guys have some stuff they need to clean up on, but they're really high on a lot of these guys, and they're really comfortable playing them in multiple spots. And we've seen that, especially with guys getting some rest here in the third week of fall camp. We've seen the mix of offensive line. They're guys playing different spots, and regardless, the performance in, I would say, Jim's standards have been pretty good. They did do some up downs after practice today, so there must have been something they missed. But otherwise, I think it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and again, for all that, like I said, TJ and I are constantly taking notes on what guys are where. So if you're looking for the in-depth rotations on what guy lined up where, again, head over to the damn board. We got an awesome special going on at BeaversEdge.com right now where you can get a full year access for $25. That's 75% off, folks, and that's a great deal, and we're only going to have this deal for just a limited time, so make sure to definitely check that out. And again, we'll be back at practice next week. Oregon State will have closed sessions / off days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. TBD on next week. We're expecting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So at this time, just stay locked to BeaversEdge.com. We're going to continue to bring you guys in-depth practice reports. We're one of the media outlets that's been here every single day. Me or TJ, boots on the ground, and we got exclusive content that you guys are definitely going to want to check out over at BeaversEdge.com. So for TJ Mathewson, I'm Brenden Slaughter signing off from the Pro Throw practice field.